Hello everybody, welcome to another Conan Exiles custom map tutorial. This is video number 16, I believe it is. And in this video we're going to cover placing down some static meshes, but I'm also going to kind of show you some tips and tricks as well for placeables and things like that, and how to search for the static meshes in the engine, give you a little bit of an idea, or sorry, I should say the dev kit. And also kind of give you some art tips and things like that to help you build your environment immersive. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the character creation spot and create a spot where the players are going to see, a little scene when they first log in and stuff. You remember when we kind of played with that when we first initially started out? Of course, I had to blow that up because of my map not doing the hole cutting visibility situation. So we're going to go ahead and kind of recreate that, and this is kind of become more of an art lesson on this lesson, and then in the next lesson we'll talk a little bit about sound. We'll work with some more sound files and things like that, and we'll kind of carry into some technical art as well, as far as more about post-processing, more about sound volumes, things like that, to kind of get you kind of started a little bit more in depth. But for now, what we're going to do is concentrate on just getting kind of a scene built, get you familiar with finding things in the dev kit, and kind of building the scene for our character creation spot. So let's go ahead and hop right into that. Get my display up. All right, here we go. Okay, so there's my custom creation spot for my character spot, and I'm just going to kind of transition it over here a little bit, and I believe it's on the persistent. And one way to tell for the actor, just in case I haven't pointed this out, is over here on your details panel on your window. You go down to the actor, you scroll down, uh, and you can find that it says one actor selected in the persistent level. So our character creator should be, our creation spot should be in the persistent level. Okay, so what we're going to do is I'm going to kind of create a scene here to start with, and the first thing I want to do is go to our content browser. Now I'm going to use a ship, and the thing is with the content browser and the dev kit, not everything's in the same spots. For example here, so if we go to the environment and we go to buildings and we go to meshes, you're going to find some blueprints mixed in here with the different meshes, the winterized, the old Acronian ruins. And as you scroll through here, you'll see that there's some they're keto items, so they're kind of mixed in here. The ships are here, some tent stuff. And as you go further down, you get the Lemurian pieces. But you notice that there's no rocks. There's like no cliff faces or anything like that, because they're stored somewhere else. Okay, so this is kind of what you have to do to kind of find pieces. Either scroll through here, or what you can do is tell the engine, if we go to the main content, so if we click main content here and we go to filters, what we do is we come down here to static mesh. So now what this should do is this should list every static mesh in the game. Okay, from armor items that are static, they don't move, they're not skeleton meshes, so don't confuse skeletal meshes with the armor skeletal meshes. These are static meshes. Okay, so you'll find your barrels, spears, weapons, even some test stuff that Funcom had, like some bridge pieces here, some rope bridges. You'll find these bushes here. You don't want to place down static bushes and things like that. Pieces of rope, some different style rock faces or cliffs here. I'm not sure if these are SIPTA. I think these are some old test pieces that they did for the first few promotionals. So they look really kind of weird. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and get rid of that. But just to give you an idea, the different things. Trees, obviously those are foliage. You're gonna find some static meshes of the animals, the mushrooms, giant statues, etc. Okay, so this is, kind of gives you an overall general idea how to find certain ones. Like if you want to do the tavern pieces, pubs, there's some oranges like fruit. There's a cage. There's complete the tavern here that they got listed is actually on the marketplace. You can actually purchase this if you want it for your personal use. But what you can also do with this is so customizable. I mean, you can literally build a tavern from the ground up. I mean, it's got all the pieces, the beams, the walls, etc. to do that with. Okay. So like I said, just kind of going through here. That way you can see all the different static meshes. Okay, but they're all located in different places. Like the weapons here are located in the game items weapons club. They're not listed under meshes and buildings environments. Okay, so just to give you, like I said, an overall idea where to find meshes, static meshes, if you need them, and you want to find something in particular, this is the easiest way to do it, and it lists everything that's in the engine that's a static mesh. Okay, jars, um, statues, all the placeables. Just make sure you don't place the blueprint placeables. If you're say you want to place these statues down so that they're actually part of the hard map, and they're not a player placeable, but you can actually place these yourself, to use them if you want. So, like I said, there's a lot here. So anyway, hopefully that gives you the idea, and I'm just kind of scrolling through here just to see if there's anything they might have patched in here that's new real quick since we're here. Kind of sneak in and see what we got. We got a captain's wheel. That's interesting. Dagon shield. Some more statues. The dungeon pieces, sewer pieces. Some of the crafting machines too, if you just want to have crafting machines as decoration and not usable, they're here. Okay, so this gives you, like I said, the overall idea where you can find these things, how to find or see what Funcom might have put in that's new that wasn't there, previously. You're able to find it here. Okay, so what I'm going to do is just really quick. I'm just going to use this and type ship, and I mean, you can find the ship that they used in SIPTA, but I don't want that one. I want this ship right here. Okay. Now, placing the static meshes, obviously this thing is huge. So I want a smaller version of this. So if you look over here in our details panel, we can scale it. So I'm going to go ahead and do 0.52 and 0.52 and 0.52. And this should scale a little bit smaller, not so large. Okay. And I'm going to roll this using our transform, and I'm going to kind of sink this in here, and I'm going to kind of turn it like so, and I want to make it look like it's kind of run aground or kind of washed up here, and it's been slowly eroding over a period of time. And let me turn that a little bit like so. So we're kind of creating the art to start with. And yeah, so I'm going to do kind of a shipwreck starting area. So when our players load in, they should see kind of the framework of our ship. And really quickly, what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit play here, and we're going to probably create a character here. Let's just see if everything loads in properly. Okay, and this is looking pretty good, not too terrible. Okay, looking good here. Should I hit? Should I shift escape? I wanted to. Let's hit play again one more time. I want to take my bracelet off, kill myself, and create a new character. So let me go ahead and do that real quick here, because I just want to see what this looks like at the creation screen, our character creation screen, to see what it looks like. And our character, remove the bracelet. Yes, I will die. Alright, so Branch Islands 2, no, we don't want to respawn there. Actually, I think I have to create a new character, don't I? That's what I should have done. I am silly. What am I thinking? Snow, it's been a while since I've actually played the game. So let's recreate character, not remove bracelet. My bad, sorry guys. Like I said, it's been a long time. I really don't play the game anymore. I'm modding it most of the time. So, and now I'm teaching you guys how to mod it. So, all right, let's get cracking on this thing. Hopefully, we'll get to our creation screen and see what it looks like. Now, I think it might be a little too close, so I might have to extend and put the ship in the water, which is okay. But I just want to get a general idea where our camera is sitting for our character. And this is a good little tutorial to kind of help you guys get your starting area set up, and you know, that way you can kind of customize it to your liking. So like I said, we're gonna just kind of build like a shipwreck, a little camp area, some barrels, you know, that the player probably salvaged, you know, etc. So as our dev kit is doing its thing, I forgot that it takes a little bit for this part, so I do apologize. Hopefully it'll be a little quicker. I hate waiting for these things, but that's just part of the nature of the beast, I guess, when you're modding Conan. Okay, here we go. So we're getting our start here. So we're gonna go female. Okay, perfect. That's not too terrible. It's looking kind of neat. So, all right. The sad part is our character is kind of hovering a little bit. You can see by her feet. But all right. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna shift escape. All right. And I'm just gonna go ahead and gently lower this. Now, if you notice, the little ball right here in the center with the transform, usually you can kind of half this into the soil. I'm going to try that and see where it is visually on the next thing, so we're going to kind of go like that. And our boat is a little close, so I'm going to go ahead, it looked alright, but I'm just going to go ahead and put it off in the water a little bit more, like so. And what I'm also going to do, let me make sure, Windows, levels, let's just make sure I'm the proper level here. Okay, great. And what we're going to do is I'm going to hit save here real quick. And I'm also going to move this boat, not the water. We're going to take this boat and I'm going to put it, move to, create a new folder, and I'm going to call it character start. Okay, and that way I know this is my scene for the character start. Alright, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to take, let's see, we're going to take these green rocks that I placed out last time in our lesson, and I'm going to bring a set of these over here like so. And I'm just going to kind of place it in here, make it look like the ship kind of ran aground. Do our best to kind of put it in here. All right. And then what we'll also do is we're going to go up here where our static meshes are, and I'm going to just type barrel, B-A-R-R-E-L. And I'm going to grab the barrel, a couple barrels, just drag them out onto the screen like so. And obviously our camera zooms in here and our character standing here. So I'm going to place these barrels just kind of back here off to the side. So it makes sense. And then also what I'm going to do too is I'm going to put a fish trap. So we're going to type fish, and that should bring us up all the different fish models, but also we got the fish traps. So I'm going to pull this fish trap out. And sometimes it takes a little bit for the shaders to run. That's the improved fish trap. We got the improved fish trap and then the super metal fish trap. Oh, that's definitely metallic. No, let's just do the old-fashioned fish trap with the old kind of, yeah, there we go, the kind of the old style. Looks like kind of bamboo shoots kind of put together. Let's put this old fish trap in here like so. And remember, you can turn your lock in for your rotation. You can turn it off. Sometimes you have to hit it twice for whatever reasons, like some sort of bug, or hey, I want to make you click this again, so do it. It's weird. Alright, and then we're just going to kind of build our scene here. And make sure that's sitting about right. Now, what we can do too to kind of create some interesting effects here for the startup, let's see. So we have our character. If our camera comes in, kind of hits our character here, we got this in the background behind the character. What we can do is we can also look for something that's kind of moves. So let me see here. Actually, what we could do is we can kind of create kind of like a campfire. So let's type camp, and let's do the static. Actually, let's do filters. We'll do blueprints. So do blueprint class, and this what that'll do is it'll allow us under camp. It'll allow us to find like all the different sorts of campfires and stuff. Oops, dang it. I don't know what happened there, but that was weird. Hit our content thing. All right, and we're going to put a campfire in here. So let's go with this one's got a skull. This one doesn't have a skull, I believe. So let's do this. That's that gigantic bonfire. All right. Now the gigantic bonfire, we can kind of put that here. I guess that'll work. It's kind of our gigantic bonfire. That'll give us some color too. As you can see, the flames kind of are glowing off the barrels and the reflections and things like that. Okay, so we got our bonfire. That's some movement to the scene, so it's not so static. So that helps the scene seem like it's alive. And then let's also look for, let's see. There's some flags and stuff like that, or some banners. But what I was thinking, let me type flag. Let's see, there's flag. Standing emblem. I kind of want something that's just kind of flying there. Now, depending on your theme, obviously this could be a Stygian ship that's crashed or something like that. So what we could do, there's a universal flag here. So what we could do is just use this standard flag here. Let me see. I can't remember if this one's got movement or not. I'm trying to remember. No, it might not. So let's go back here. Let's grab this guy. I think this guy's got some movement to it. Yeah. And what we can do is we can kind of drape it over the side here, right? On the boat. Now, depending like I said, depending on the theme you're going for, obviously this could be a Stygian slave ship that hit a storm. And now the banner, we're using the banner as a way of, you know, it could be shelter. It could be just sitting it here for whatever reason. Our stranded victim is using this to signal. You don't know. So let me shrink it. And we can't bring it up because we're going to have that post hit it. So what let's do, we'll just kind of bring it up here. Make it look like it's tacked to the side of the ship. And actually what I should do is kind of rotate it this way because it looks like it's got a bit of a curve to the mesh a little bit. And you just gotta kind of carefully maneuver things. And the way to tell too whether you got certain things placed as well, and see we're gonna run into that as well, is you can look where the yellow kind of collapses or collides with the other meshes. You can kind of see that it'll kind of disappear or it turns into a white line. That's when you know you're kind of right up on it. All right, so I'm just going to bring this down and bring this over. Scale a little bit smaller. And hopefully it's in our scene properly. If not, we can always do adjustments later. So there we go. So we kind of got some movement. It's moving in the background a little bit. That's just to kind of help the scene seem a little bit more lively. Okay. And obviously we have some water here. So what we can do is we're going to go ahead and we can put some rocks down. And I'm going to find the light tan rocks. And what I got to make sure too is that I've actually got these for this level. So I'm going to make sure I go ahead and unload the other level. Because you got to remember from the foliage tutorial, We want to make sure we assign the foliage to the level. Okay, good. So I do have it here. So I'm going to take these little stones here. And we'll take those ones there. And what we're going to do is gently paint some rocks down here. This kind of here along the beach. Oops. Nothing too large, because we don't want that to obstruct the scene either and cause the scene to take away from the scene. Yeah, we want our players kind of the focal point on the character creation, but also kind of the focal point of the shipwreck here, things like that. Okay. And let's keep this basic. All right, good so far. I think so far it looks pretty good. So let's hit play from here, and I know I got some grass kind of growing here too. What I might do is remove some of the grass. We'll see how it looks. But let's go ahead and hit play from here. And hopefully it gives me the character creation screen again, and not one of my spare characters. You know how it kind of creates duplicate characters. So hopefully it does it here. Okay. Alright, so our fire is a little bit off to the side behind our character, but we can kind of see the flag back there. You see the fish trap, you see the barrels. So what we can do with the fire is we can actually probably move it a little bit more to the right of our character. So we can go ahead and do that. So I'm going to hit Shift Escape. And since the camera was kind of stationed here, so I'm just going to shift it over, just like so. So that's another little trick too, where I've exited out was perfect, because now we know where we can kind of move the fire at. And I'm going to bring it up, raise it up slightly, like so. And that's kind of in our scene. And we had our flag in the back behind our character a little bit, so there was some movement there. This kind of got cut off because the other the creation tools. However, when we first kind of drift in, you can kind of see the scene. So let's go ahead, we'll hit play again one more time, and kind of go from there and see what it looks like again. But this is one surefire way to go ahead and get your creation scene set up the way you like it. Okay. There we go. And you notice our character's still hovering just a tad little bit. Our fire's been moved over. Our flag banner in the back is not in scene anymore, so it's kind of almost like it's moved. But it hasn't. It's just really weird how the camera kind of came in. So the camera, it seems like it kind of shifts just a little bit every once in a while in this scene. So we'll hit Shift Escape, and then we'll just bring our banner over. You know, because we kind of want it in here. We didn't just put it in here for, you know, wasting our time. So we want to kind of bring it in here and make it worth the reason why we put it in here. So let's go ahead and do that. And bring this over. And we'll get close. Because you know, when the character creation area, our players are going to be able to access this the way I got it set up. Our players will be able to find the shipwreck. But what's really cool is it's part of the scene, and we can put a lore book here too, kind of tuck it off to the side, or have it in general, and players are wanting to find this area. Okay. So we can do a really cool thing here with this scene. But let's go ahead and hit play one more time, and let's see where we're at. So hopefully this is helping you out, makes sense. Like I said, I'm trying to give you pointers for the art and how to make your scene seem lively and immersive. So when players first initially start out, they get that sense of, okay, this is really neat and lively. So there you go. There's our banner. We got our fire. We hear the seagulls in the background, which is cool. But also what we can do too is, if you can see the rock there off to the side where our ship is kind of crashed, there's a really cool, what is it? It's a vulture bird placeable, which will actually be really neat to see some birds circling over in the background if we want to do that. Okay, so this is looking pretty good like that. And what we can do though, however, is I'm going to go, oops, I shouldn't have moved myself, but I'll kind of get back here. I'm going to go ahead and just slightly adjust our barrels into our scene a little bit more, kind of press them back, oops, kind of press them back here, gently move them over, and I'm kind of get my camera as close as possible. And I'm just going to give this one a little bit of tweak, kind of tip it to the side, and because it's in the sand, so it's not so, oops, and it wouldn't be that super straight. And our fish trap, bring that down like that. Okay, and then our character here, I'm going to go ahead and bring this down just a little bit more, so I'm hoping that now the feet kind of look like they're standing in the sand. Where it will hit play again. And I hope this tutorial helps out and, get you comfortable with finding the static meshes and kind of building your scene. There we go. So now we got a little bit more of our barrels, got our fire, we have our flag, our character's still slightly hovering in kind of like hover mode because of the animations on the character creator. However, we can probably find a different one. I'll look into that later. But for now, I mean, this is working out pretty good, so I'm going to hit Shift Escape one more time. And I'm going to take our thing and just gently adjust it down a little bit further. Hit save. But also, since we got this kind of hanging in the background, what I'm also going to do is I want to put a little bit more on our scene here. So I'm going to look for chain. And not chain mail. Go to our filters, go to static mesh, and turn off blueprint class. So now it should just be the static meshes should appear. Not sound files. Hit the static mesh again. There we go. Sometimes the dev kit does weird stuff. Okay, so this is where all of our chain is and things like that. So let's see here, some chain. And I'm gonna kind of shrink this down a little bit so I can kind of see here. And we know our flag is waving here. What we can do too is we can kind of put maybe like this guy here. And I'm going to adjust that, so let me move that to the side real quick. And I just want to give a little bit more emphasis to our scene. And you can do how, what you like, but just remember you want to try to keep it as immersive as possible and make sense. You don't want oddball things in the scene. Now, chain obviously would be part of the scene here. It could, because there could be a slave ship. It could be something here. This could be a chain inside the boat. Now it's just kind of hanging off the side here. It's broke. You just don't know. It got broken in the storm. That's the great thing about, certain scenes, and, try to make sense of the hardware and things that you might use or placeables you might use. That way it makes sense. Don't add like a magic hover ball here unless you're making a magic hovering ship or something, then by all means. But you want to kind of put stuff in your scene that makes sense. That's not absurd. That's not part. Also, what I can do too here is, because we got the beach sand and stuff, what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab some of the plank here and go to single instance mode. We'll grab our plank, and I'm just going to put a few planks, kind of like, and they might show up in the scene. They might not. It all depends. We're going to try to make it look pretty good. Because they're burnt. This is a shipwreck area, right? So, and then because these are kind of repetitive here, I'm going to go ahead and take my select tool, highlight it, and kind of do some twisting here. Just put some odd turns. Some of them can be buried a little bit in the sand. kind of tilted, twisted. That way they're not all lining up and look like they were placed by hand. Okay, like so. All right, let's see. And then what we can do to tease our players with this scene is let's go ahead and let's find the chest. So if we go back to our select mode, go to our content folder, which I got to bring over here. We're going to type chest. Now we can do a placeable chest here, obviously. So I'm going to turn off static mesh, go to filters. I'm going to go to blueprint class, and now I can find the different chests. Okay, so there's different loot containers. Obviously, I'm going to go with Black Hand because we've got pirates, right? So I'm going to go ahead and do this metal chest here and place it, and I'm going to tilt it back a little bit, sink in the water, so it's not like perfectly flat. So this is another tip and trick is make sure you kind of change the angle on certain things that look like it's tossed around. You don't want it to look like right here. See how that's perfectly layered? These I'll have to touch these planks here, change them up a bit because they just look like they're placed in a line properly. That's not kind of normal how, I mean, in real life, yeah, you would get that if you're stacking planks and wood and stuff like that, obviously. But if it's a shipwreck, obviously they might not take the time to stack the wood until, if they're organized until later. But for now, we want to make it look like these pieces are just kind of spread in the water. And I'm going to take one more chest. That was a chest of coins. I'm going to find another Black Hand chest. Let's see, there's Black Hand Tier 1, Tier 2. I'm going to throw a Tier 2 chest in here. And I'm just going to kind of roll it back and sink it a little bit. And it's kind of sticking above the water a little bit, right? And then I'm going to go back to my foliage tool. Obviously, I'm going to go ahead and try to adjust and fix this plank, but I got to get underwater. And I'm going to go ahead and put a little bit of twist on it so it's not so perfectly aligned with that other one. See, so it's kind of sporadic here. All right. All right, and also there's a couple other pieces too with the ship. So what I'm going to do is type ship again real quick. And take off blueprint class. We want to go to static mesh. And there's obviously some other pieces of the ship we can use, like some big pieces like this, right? And obviously I want to rescale that down. So what I can do is I can highlight the ship in the background, right? And here's a neat little trick. So I'm highlighting the ship in the background. There's our scale, right? Our X, our Y, and our Z. What we can do here, here's a little tip. You can right click in here and hit copy, and what it does is it copies this information on here. And now what we can do is click on this piece of wood here and rescale it and hit paste here. It will take the scale that we just had in our other ship and place it here, like so. So that's another little tip and trick on the static mesh tutorial that I wanted to show you as well. And I'm just going to put this kind of like in here, and I want to make sure it's not floating too much, but I want to make it look like it's kind of settled here into the bottom of the ship, like so. Okay, and let me see. So, some other tips and tricks too, really quickly. Another, and this is not for our scene, but I'm just going to kind of move here to the side real quick. So, you might have seen me doing this before, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to just give you an example. So what you don't want to do, for example, is with our acronian pieces. So I'm just going to grab an acronian piece. Let's grab this statue here. Okay, so you notice we're building a jungle environment or an island environment. The last thing we want is to place something like this in this environment. Okay, this is obviously odd. It doesn't fit to the theme. The coloring doesn't fit. It just doesn't fit our theme. Now, down here, if we wanted to use this, we could possibly use an acronian statue if they have one that might be the color. So we might be able to change the color if there's some moss. So we might be able to get away with this in the jungle because why? We got a little bit of green on it. It's a little bit mossy. We might be able to put it in some thick foliage and make it look like it's been in the jungle for, hundreds of years. So you want to make sure you have the material representing it, or if it fits your theme. It's a little dark still. It's really hard. You got to make the determination. Now that was the mossy. There's a SIPTA version here, and I'm not sure what this looks like at all. But we'll take a look here and see what they created for the SIPTA version. Oh yeah, so the SIPTA version's it's grayed. It's got this beautiful green on it, and it matches. So this actually kind of goes with our environment, so this one actually would do better. So as you can see, you want to make sure you make the correct selection for the theme, and if they have the material, then awesome, so be it. I want to point that tip and trick out too. So to change that, when you place a static mesh down, you can actually change the material here. So you don't have to create another one of these, duplicate it, and then assign the material. Okay, so we have the material assigned to it. Just by dropping down here, we can change it. We can go back to the mossy, see? So that's all you do with the static meshes to change it out. If it's got a matching one, and like here we got Akron Statue 02, Akron Statue 02, mossy, SIPTA. We got this one here, which I can't remember what that material is, but we'll find out here in a second. It's going to change it to a core sand, SIPTA. So this is another color in the SIPTA version of this, so we'll see what it looks like. Okay, there you go. So that's a little bit darker. It's got the sand, so that must be like it's waterlogged or something. I don't know. That's like it's a coral sand, so it could be something that's supposed to be underwater possibly. I don't know. So, but this is what you can do, like I said, to kind of match things up. And I wanted to point that out with the static mesh placement, and this tutorial is how you can change the materials and things like that. Okay, so we're at 37 minutes for this little tutorial. So really quickly, what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit play one more time before we head out of here. And hopefully this helped you with the immersion. I'm going to hit play one more time. And let's see where our character camera is, what the scene looks like. And yeah, it'll kind of help us complete this version of the tutorial. And then what we'll do is on the next one, we'll kind of work on some sound stuff and things like that. So there you have it. Our character's a little bit not so floaty. We got our flag waving back. We got our barrels in the scene. We have our fire. We can't really see the chest I placed down, but that's okay. That's alright. But it's there. So if the player does find this starting area, guess what? They have some chests to loot. Okay? So, alright. Let me go ahead and hit stop here. And let me transition back over from my display. Okay, so hopefully that helps everybody with the kind of the immersion thing, kind of explains a little bit of the art, what to do, how to place it, so it kind of creates the theme, makes the scene or theme look lively, not just kind of dull. Like I said, static meshes are static. I mean, they don't do nothing, but they sit there. So if you can find some stuff to kind of make the scene look lively with like the fire, the flag in the background that's actually a static mesh with the material that makes it look like it's waving in the wind. Find things like that to kind of help bring your scene to life, okay? And not every time do you have to do that, but for like something like this at the start screen, you kind of want to make it lively and feel alive and not just blah. It's there, okay? So the fire kind of helps with that. The little flag in the background helps with that. And obviously we were stranding on the Barachan Isles. Okay, so in our next tutorial, what we'll do is we're going to cover sound, and we're going to cover some of the volume stuff. We're going to cover the sound cues where you might need to put a waterfall in. I need to be able to show you the difference, because not only do we have the sound as far as the environment, where you're going into a cave and you're hearing the music and you're hearing the ambience, but we also need to do the sound cues for, like, you got a fire, you have a torch, you have a waterfall. You need to be able to find those and understand how to place those as well, not just the sound volumes that wrap the world. So we'll do that in the next tutorial. So without further ado, everybody, thank you for your support. Thanks for watching the tutorials. Let me know in the comments on the Patreon if they're doing great. I'm doing spot on and I'm helping you guys. Please let me know. and I will try to fix anything I might need to do. So without further ado, thank you guys for watching, and I will see you guys all next time in the next video. Bye, everybody.